Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, distinguished guests, and folks of all stripes, put your hands together for the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Houston, we have Paul Salazar Jr. Welcome back to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salazar Jr. You can find the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at Space Cadet Sports, or primarily, we're most active on the blog. You can find that at the website, spacecadetsports.substack.com. Just put in your email in there. I don't do anything with it besides send you a lot of Astros information. You get all the memes, all the articles, all the podcasts, all the video articles, all of the dogs barking in the background on a busy LA day. Folks, we need to soundproof this studio a whole lot better. It's really hard. Honestly, what my problem is mostly when it comes to audio bleed over is that it's hard sometimes to keep the dog quiet, so I'll have the dog outside, and having the dog outside with an open door means that the adjacent neighborhood dogs will be barking in the background. They're just always going to be barking in the background. That is definitely a reoccurring theme here at the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salazar Jr. I will not be doing the barking in the background. That is not me. You can find me on my social media at Paul Salazar Jr. Carla the dog, though, is my co-host and the producer of the podcast. While she's not being heard in barking right now, she might get on mic at some point to give her point of view. Folks, it is a little bit better of a feeling day than the last time the Astros took a road trip. Right now, the Astros road trip was exactly at 500. They won 3 games. They lost 3 games. Yesterday, we're coming off of a JV game where he came back and won the rubber match in Detroit. That was great to see, folks. Yeah, that game yesterday, we're recording this on Monday here, Monday morning. So that game yesterday, JV in Detroit, was great to see. That was a game the Astros won 9-3. Justin Verlander ended up pitching 7 innings that game. Let's see, he got 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 8 strikeouts. It was a shutout game going into the 9th inning. In that game, just real quick, since we are talking about the shutout and Justin Verlander did have a really great performance, a bounce-back performance, a vintage performance, some might even say, in Detroit, putting the Astros on his back and carrying them to another win. Now, I say carrying them to another win, however, the Astros did score 9 points. So, getting those 9 runs was highly important. We did need a great outing from JV, but truly, as much as we love JV, it is a little silly to say he put them on his back. I'm kind of shading Chandler Rome a bit. He said that basically saying that Justin Verlander carried the Astros. It's like, yeah, it was a great performance, but also, yeah, nine runs, that's, that you got to give the offense a little bit of credit there. I mean, 9 runs is good. The offense of the Astros has actually been good this season, and people have been really critical of it. The offense has been good, whereas the pitching has been abysmal. But we still say things like Ronald Blanco and Justin Verlander are carrying this team. It's truly because they're the most consistent pitchers we have right now. We definitely need them. I'm just trying to say that give the offense some credit, folks. So yeah, Justin Verlander, he gave up 2 hits. He did give up 2 walks there. So even with the walks, it wasn't so bad. And he picked up 8 strikeouts. He is creeping up on Max Scherzer to get into the top 10 in strikeouts for his career. Being right now, he is sitting outside of the top 10 at 11. He is looking to keep moving forward and climb up those strikeout ranks for MLB records for strikeouts in career. So that's really great to see. Good to see Justin Verlander do that, improve his stats a little bit, improve to 2-1. while we look at stats here at the Space Cadet Sports Podcast, like wins and ERA, like, he has a 3.38 ERA, I'm definitely much more of an advanced stats guy, but we do say that stuff because that is how most people take in baseball. They know those stats, they are the most familiar with those. I have said that, in the past, I have said that I am still learning my audience and still learning this group of people. So while I like advanced stats, I don't want to overwhelm you with them, but if that's your vibe, let me know. I would definitely give more of that too. So after Verlander exited the game in the eighth inning, we got Seth Martinez, who came in and gave us a clean sheet in the eighth. It was good to see that. It was also good to see, the Astros were up so much by the eighth inning. It was a pitcher's battle in the first part of the game, but once the bullpen kind of came in, the Astros were able to break open the game, really get some good distance between them and the Tigers, and that was good for Espada because during this run of games where we have something like there was two. I think we had like 2 days off in all of May. The Houston Astros did, I should say. I have more days off than that because I can. I could take them off. I can elect not to watch a game. But the Astros only had a couple days off this May, so bullpen strength is important. Not being able to not have to pitch Abreu in this game was great. So yeah, you had Martinez go out there for the eighth, and people are probably wondering, why do you put him back out there for the ninth? To rest your bullpen, folks. Tell me you don't know baseball without telling me you don't know baseball. So yeah, Martinez was back in there for the ninth. Unfortunately, Seth Magic Man Martinez just ran out of some magic there in the ninth inning. He kind of got beat up a bit. He ended up giving up 4 runs. He gave up 4 hits, I should say. He gave up 3 runs, 3 earned runs, gave up a walk, and he did give up a home run, which was the toughest part. If he didn't give up that home run, we really wouldn't be saying that Martinez got beat up. It was a tough pitch. It was a tough outing. I believe he either tied or exceeded his pitch count for his career. He pitched a lot of pitches trying to get out of that ninth inning, ran into some trouble. It was not great. However, you're looking at Seth Martinez's stats. It was a blip. It was a tough outing. We do put Seth Martinez in there sometimes for 2 innings. However, he isn't technically the long relief guy. For long relief, we're looking more at I was going to say Brandon Belak, but we are aware now, that Brandon Belak is no longer with the team. He was DFA'd, but we'll get to that a little more later. But for the long relief guy right now, that's going to be Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown is now the long relief guy coming out of the pen. And we also have another former starting pitcher in the pen with Sean Dubin. So we have Hunter Brown, we have Sean Dubin in the pen for long relief. And at other times this season, we have used Montero, or I should say that Joe Espada has used Montero as a 2-inning relief guy. There's only one time during the whole run in April when we just couldn't get any starting pitching where Seth Martinez, kind of stepped in and took over a game and pitched late into the game in multiple innings. I don't think that's necessarily his role. I do anticipate that every now and then Seth Martinez could pick up 2 innings, but I don't think he is necessarily seen as a long relief guy, or at least the long relief option out of the pen. I think he's a guy that can give you some length, but I think generally they're only going to look to him for 2 innings, and this was just a tougher outing for Seth. However, in other games we've been killed by some tough pitching and tough breaks in the ninth inning. It didn't happen this game because the offense covered us. Like I was saying earlier, all credit to Justin Verlander and the pitching staff for doing a great job. But, to say that they carried us, it's a little bit of a false narrative and a little disrespectful to the Houston Astros offense that has been pretty consistent this season in terms of just general hits, getting good offense. Now, they definitely have struggled with runners in scoring position. Chandler Rome has mentioned just how terrible, not even terrible, how awful, comparatively speaking, Yordan Alvarez has been this season to past seasons with runners in scoring position. And then he mentioned that it probably has to do with pressure. Yeah, it has to do with pressure because jerks like you are constantly just waiting to neg the Astros. I give Chandler Rome a lot of guff on this podcast, and it's truly I do like Chandler Rome as a writer. I think he's a good writer. I do think that he it's hard to be a beat writer. It's not the easiest job to have to come up with new articles every day, but I feel like he serves a national audience more than he serves a Houston-based audience. He's out there trying to get clicks by being negative. Even like last season, he started this whole narrative of Dusty Baker and Chas McCormick not liking each other. And I don't know exactly where that came from, and he kept pushing it, and it got to the point where Dusty Baker was like point blank saying that he doesn't hate Chas McCormick, and that there was some conditioning issues with Chas, with I think Jake Myers is a little bit more of a analytics type athlete. The Astros organization likes him a lot more. I think Dusty Baker was trying to. I think Dusty Baker was more of a champion of Chas McCormick than the Astros organization was last season. So all I'm saying is that I think Chandler Rome is out there sometimes trying to create some stories, trying to be a little negative, trying to get some clicks, and it's not. It creates these stories that I think sometimes aren't exactly there, but that is what sports writing is. It's all opinions, a lot of conjecture, but I don't like how he just leans negative all the time and is always trying to find some kind of negativity. So yeah, I do think that he is right that there's no denying the stats. Alvarez has struggled this season in a lot of situations with runners in scoring position because it looks like he's trying. It looks he's taking some swings that he shouldn't be swinging, and honestly, there's some pitches that he is letting go on the corners that some of them are right on the corner, some of them are right outside, and he's getting some strikeouts without swinging the bat because he's thinking it's a ball. I think we just need a little more consistency from Alvarez when it comes to some plate discipline. He has it sometimes, and sometimes he's pushing too much, and that does come from the pressure. That does come from the pressure of being the biggest bat in the lineup and feeling like you're the one who has to drive in these runs. Playing within his game and playing within his strengths, I should say, is definitely what's needed. But it's hard when you're feeling the pressure to constantly execute. I do think he's going to find it. I don't think this is going to be an issue for Alvarez. I think it's just been a tough couple months, and he is feeling it. So that being said, let's kind of look at Alvarez for this game or for the game yesterday. Alvarez's stat line: he got 2 hits off of 5 at bats. He scored a run and had just 1 strikeout. His average on the season is 256, and bringing his OPS to 779. And yeah, like Alvarez has had a couple struggles this past week. He's kind of starting to turn it around here. That was really, it's really good to see it. A little bit more offense out of him because we desperately need it coming from the middle of the lineup right now, folks. We need to be scoring runs. It's hard when the team has been struggling as a whole with runners in scoring position. It hasn't just been Alvarez. It's also been Pena. It's been Bregman. It's been, it even was Altuve. Altuve was struggling with runners in scoring position. So across the board, the middle of the lineup and the top of the lineup have been struggling with runners in scoring position. And somehow Mauricio Dubon is one of the best hitters, not only on the Astros, but in the league with runners in scoring position, which is just nuts to me, at least. I think Dubon's a great player, but he is not the type of player that you naturally would think would be driving in a lot of runs. He's a guy, let's take a look at Dubon's Mother's Day game actually before we get into the type of hitter Dubon is, because Dubon had a great game for Mother's Day. Say hi to your mother for me, Dubon. He got 4 hits and 5 at bats. He actually had a chance at the end of the game to potentially get a 5 hit game. Jose Altuve was sitting in the dugout just biting his nails like, oh man, is this guy going to get a 5 hit game before me? But unfortunately, Dubon did not get a 5 hit game, but he did get a 4 hit game. He scored a run, he got an RBI, and 0 strikeouts, which is great because the Tigers had Flaherty out there, and he's a high strikeout pitcher. He leads the major leagues in the strikeout for 9 inning rate. Mauricio Dubon just doesn't strike out. And it's so crazy that Mauricio Dubon, is doing so well with runners in scoring position because he is a high chase guy. He chases a lot of pitches out of the zone. He's just trying to get the bat on the ball and get a hit. He just kind of, getting hits, slapping balls in there. He's not always driving the ball for power as much as he's trying to kind of get on base, get a hit. And those kind of guys generally aren't the guys that you see a lot of RBI production from because, traditionally RBIs come from slugging, from getting big hits to the gaps, from getting home runs. Guys that kind of bunt and slap hit and bloop their way on base aren't always going to be your RBI guys. But because of the Astros struggling so much with runners in scoring position, Mauricio Dubon, with just his ability to get on base, has been nails for us. But that's also bizarre because when you look at that, he's very similar to another guy on our team. I don't know if you heard of him, Jose Altuve. Jose Altuve actually had the game off yesterday. He got Mother's Day off. He was able to relax, have a nice day off. We'll have a little more on that later. But yeah, Jose Altuve is a high chase guy, a guy that gets the bat on the ball constantly. You could be, throwing a ball, out there, a couple, and even a foot off the plate. He kind of can find a way to get a hit with that, but he also has a whole lot more power. He has slugging, he has pop, he drives the ball, so to see kind of more of a hit based Altuve than a slugging based Altuve, and that guy's doing better with runners in scoring position. It is a little bizarre, but that's just the player Mauricio Dubon is. Mauricio Dubon is a gamer. Mauricio Dubon fights hard. In the Saturday game, at the end of the game when the Astros lost to the Tigers, Mauricio Dubon had the last at bat of the game, and after the game he threw his helmet down in frustration. He was very frustrated. You could tell that he wanted to get a hit. You could tell that he knew he chased. He didn't have the best at bat to continue the game so the Astros could stay in it. He was very frustrated, threw his helmet down, and then after that, the Sports Illustrated and some AI bot wrote this article about how the Houston Astros clubhouse is frustrated and is in disarray. I couldn't even read it, folks. I mean, this Sports Illustrated article there's no way it isn't written by AI, which, on top of it being a competitor of mine, also AI, I find completely reprehensible. I don't like it. I think AI is a tool that we should be using. It isn't something that should be wholesale replacing people. That's nuts. Even for something like as innocuous as sports beat writing, that's just foolish to me. That's dumb. AI can do so much. I am a futurist in ways. I'm not, we have to, whether it's something that is socially, that something in socially that we don't like, or politically that we don't like, or technological that we don't like, sometimes there is no putting the cat back in the bag. Something is just going to change over time, and it's going to be part of the world and part of life, whether you like it or not. And I know that's AI. I know that no matter how I feel about it, it's still going to be there. But I think the way that we use AI is really, dismissive to a lot of creative people that worked really hard to essentially make the data that creates the output for this AI, and we just wholesale forget people and we just let the AI do the job. That's, Sports Illustrated is obviously not the Sports Illustrated that we knew growing up. This is hot garbage, is what this article is. It's all conjecture. It's all based off of silly like body language. None of it make any sense, and there's no sources. So yes, the Houston Astros clubhouse is probably frustrated, but I don't think it's toxic. I don't think it is in disarray. I don't think that they need to trade people or get people out of there because mentality's bad. I think they don't like losing. This is a team that's used to winning. They don't like losing. They're trying to stay the course, trying to remain consistent. But when you remain consistent and you're doing the right things and you're still losing, that's frustrating. So yeah, I do think this team is frustrated. Yes, I can imagine the clubhouse vibes are not great after, a loss. When you're still losing and you need to get back up to 500, it's not going to be a great environment. I wouldn't want it to be all chuckles and all laughs at this point in the season when they've lost another game in Detroit when they know they could have won. So it's like I think that Sports Illustrated article, you just have to take with a huge grain of salt because it was written by a robot. There's no sources. There's no way to prove that it's right or wrong. And on top of it, it's pretending to be a person who like is a body language expert, which already, I'm telling you, you can't be out there and be like, oh, I could tell by his body language. That's all some foolishness and nonsense. First of all, you're not a body language expert. You're some guy that's watching baseball games. So, what are we even talking about? So that article really frustrated me. I do think that the clubhouse is probably not great after a loss, but why should it be? This team needs to pick each other up and do better. They do have good times. The camaraderie looks good. They've just, this team is not a team that has always had always been having a blast or having a lot of fun in the dugout or in the clubhouse, because they've been painted as villains. Everyone's always has been asking them tough questions. Nobody really wants to see them celebrate. Post 2019, they really, after the scandal news broke, they really kind of buttoned it up and kind of just, when other teams are pimping home runs and doing a lot of stuff, for the most part, unless it's a playoff game, the Astros just kind of casually trot around. There's not a lot of celebrating, especially post Correa. Correa was, definitely someone out there, getting the crowd pumped up and getting, pimping home runs and doing a lot of celebrating. But the Astros just haven't been that kind of swaggy team. They don't have a trident or a space helmet or a cowboy hat or 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 a pizza, a pile of pizzas on a pike. I will have to say, in the ninth inning when the Detroit Tigers hit a home run, I got to see the Detroit Tigers home run celebration, which is Little Caesars style. Stack of pizzas on a pike, which I have to say, out of all the home run celebrations, I love that. Can we just have that, Detroit? I know that y'all have the Little Caesars branding. I know that you have a lot of affection for I guess the Detroit style pizza, that square pizza deep dish kind of thing. I love it. I'm not, I can't speak foully of pizza. That pizza is fantastic. I'm just saying those look like some just standard pizzas. If you don't, if you don't want that anymore, the Astros will happily take that, even though it has nothing to do with their branding. I just think it's hilarious, celebrating home runs, carrying some pizzas around. But I do think that the Astros, they're not really that braggadocious in your face team. They're kind of more professional. We've been there before. We've seen it before. Even keeled, kind of like the Patriots. The Patriots used to be in all their press conferences. Like the Key and Peele sketch. I just take it one game at a time. Just got to do. The Astros are a very professional team in that manner. So they're not going to be high energy team a high energy team a lot. It's the players that lead the team are kind of lower energy guys. Altuve and Bregman and Kyle Tucker. These are some quiet low energy guys, folks. So yeah, when the energy is gonna feel a little tense when they're losing a lot of games and they're not used to it. But I don't think that this team's clubhouse is in disarray or is tough or they've lost any respect for Espada. All these things are insane. They've known Espada for a long time. Managing a baseball team is not easy. I mean, talk to our friend in Detroit, AJ Hinch. You remember how long AJ Hinch has been in Detroit? And, they have not been that successful of a team. But Detroit knows they're trying to build culture. You don't just fire managers and get rid of them because you have a tough run. And I think that's Houston Astros fans that are calling for that are just foolish. You haven't been here before. Y'all don't even know what Tiles Hill is. If you're calling for the firing of Joe Espada, I would bet that you don't know. If I said Tiles Hill, you'd be like, what is that? You don't fire a manager for a bad couple months, folks. You don't, and you definitely don't start leaning into the narrative that the manager has lost the locker room. Let our enemies do that. You're supposed to be supporting this team. What's wrong with you, folks? But back to the offense here. With Jose Altuve on the bench, it gave an opportunity for a new lineup for Joe Espada. And in the Saturday game, Kyle Tucker got the game off. I know I was kind of conjecturing what could the lineups be with the outfield. With all these outfielders. There's a lot of baby birds in that outfield, a lot of mouths to feed for Joe Espada. So how do you rotate these guys in? How do you see what they have so you can see if you can get any production from Trey Cabbage? So you can see if you can get some production and consistency from Joey Loperfido? Or are these guys, which one of those guys is going to go back down when Chas McCormick comes back up? If you're Joe Espada, it's in your best interest to see what these guys have and see if they can contribute anything to this team. So, with that being said, yesterday, I think it was really smart. Kyle Tucker got the day off. Kyle Tucker, obviously, is one of the better players on the team right now. His offense is really carrying the team in a lot of games. He is, probably our best player on the team. If we had to choose like an offensive MVP, it would be him right now. That's Kyle Tucker. So it was tough to see Joe Espada have Kyle Tucker have a game off when we lost. But then the next day we ended up winning, and he was able to give Jose Altuve a day off. So I think that's great managing. Obviously, if we lost both games, then it would be a different story, but we don't have to worry about that. For people that, speculative stuff like that is when you're being speculatively negative with something that didn't happen. I just think that's silly sports writing and sports podcasting. It's like, yeah, but it didn't happen. So we're focused on what did happen, which I think was great management. Joe Espada was simultaneously able to give Kyle Tucker and Jose Altuve days off back-to-back while rotating people into his outfield to see what they have before Chas McCormick comes back up from his minor league rehab stint. We got some Cabbage out there in the outfield. We got some Dubon out there in the outfield. We got some Loperfido out there in the outfield. And even yesterday, because Dubon was able to play second base, we were able to get Cabbage, Loperfido, Dubon, and and Tucker in the outfield, and even Myers came in later for a pinch hit. So that, you're kind of getting everybody out there. You're getting all the mouths fed to spot it. Good on you. Good job on you. And we were able to have a great offensive game with Altuve on the bench and letting him rest up and kind of recover from the long season. We're in the middle of a really rough stretch of game for the Astros. We need to find rest for these guys. We need them to be fresh. We need them to be the best they can. So I really got to give credit to Espada for that. And on top of that, another reason this is genius is that Bregman has been hitting sixth. He had to be bumped down the lineup, but he started to catch a little bit of fire. He's getting some hits. So by getting Tucker out of the lineup, by getting Altuve out of the lineup, you have made it possible to bump Bregman back up the lineup. Give him some bats higher up in this lineup without really having to look like you are giving him that spot unnecessarily, because by getting Tucker out of the lineup or Altuve out of the lineup, now you need Bregman in those spots, and Bregman has been executing fairly well in those spots, so it's trying to build that confidence up for Bregman and being like, hey, if you're hitting well, you won't be down in that spot. We'll bump you up, but you have to be hitting well to be there. It's being fair to your vet and getting, simultaneously giving playing time to your younger players and your bench players to make sure everybody stays fresh and you see what you get out of them. So I thought that was great management by Espada. And it was also good to see, Kyle Tucker in the leadoff spot. Kyle Tucker was the leadoff batter. So with Altuve out, the lineup that Espada went with yesterday was Tucker, Pena, Alvarez, Bregman, Singleton, Diaz. Loperfido started center, Cabbage started left, and Dubon batted in the 9 hole out of the second base spot for subbing for Altuve. And yeah, we spoke about Dubon and his outing. Tucker at the top of the lineup. He got his 13th home run of the season in the 6th inning off of Flaherty. So he's now leading, or at least at the end of the game yesterday, he was leading the AL. He may be leading or tied at this point today, but he is the AL league leading home run leader, I should say, Kyle Tucker right now. So if nobody else got you, Kyle Tucker got you. He did kind of struggle. He did have 2 strikeouts at the top of the lineup. I mean, I think, he just kind of got. There was a high strikeout, pitcher. This bullpen from Detroit is actually the 3rd best in the majors, I believe, in ERA, at least before yesterday. So this is a good pitching team. Tucker did get that home run, so he did get 2 RBIs on that hit. He did also work into 2 walks, so he did a great job at the top of the lineup. Pena was 1 for 5, but he has been nails. He's been that guy this season. He's been him. So, it was just a tougher game for Pena. It was also a tough game for Trey Cabbage. Trey Cabbage had 2 at-bats. He did strike out once, and he did get subbed out. Myers came in for Cabbage, I believe. Let's see. He singled for Cabbage in the 7th. Yeah, he came in for Cabbage in the 7th in the last third of the game there, or I should say the last couple innings of the game there. So it was good to see Myers come in. However, Myers did exceptional. He was able, because of the Astros' late inning success, Myers actually was able to get 3 at-bats and get 3 hits and 3 RBIs. So look at Myers. Myers is looking great offensively. We know Myers is a defensive star. Like, there's no denying it. That guy is going to be a fantastic defensive outfielder, no matter where he plays. But the Astros really need him to bring some offense because the Astros need to win games, and we're looking for production from everybody in the lineup. It's really hard to have a hole in the lineup right now. That's why Jose Abreu is in Florida working on that swing. We just can't afford holes in the lineup. So seeing Myers do that, stepping in for Cabbage, was great. I mean, that's probably some tough news for Trey Cabbage. Trey Cabbage does seem to be that guy that's going to give you, kind of the one or two choices there when he's going up to the plate. He's either going to strike out or get a big hit. He hasn't really shown that he hasn't hit a home run yet, so that's kind of what we were hoping for. We were hoping for some home runs from him. So this might not be the best news for Trey Cabbage. He might be the odd man out when Chas McCormick is better and off the IL. Also worth noting, Joey Loperfido picked up 2 hits. Diaz picked up 2 hits. Singleton picked up 2 hits. So that is promising. It's good to see that. The Astros were able to get 18 hits on the game. They got 9 runs and only struck out 7 times, which is great for a high strikeout pitcher. It's absolutely fantastic. They were 6 for 12 with runners in scoring position and left 9 on base. So, you'd love to see it. That is the team that we want to see. That is more of the production and the numbers that we want to see. And, speaking of Chas McCormick coming back and the outfield kind of rotation there, I did mention real quick, we just wanted, in the previous blog, one of our blogs, we did mention that the Astros had to DFA 2 great players that have given a lot to the Astros over the last couple seasons, and particularly last year. Brandon Bielak was a casualty of the roster lineup with Javier coming back. I know Christian Javier didn't look too great. We might have brought him up a little early, but Brandon Bielak was definitely the odd man out of that bullpen staff. As a long reliever, we're wishing him the best. I really think Brandon Bielak can figure it out. He never really quite cracked the rotation, but I can see him being a starting pitcher somewhere else. I think he does have starting pitcher stuff, capable of doing it at the professional level. We will see. Teams are always looking for pitching. I could see a team taking a flyer on him and putting him in the back end of their rotation. Another casualty for our lineup is University of Houston alum and Friendswood native, I believe, Houston area native for sure. It's Corey Julks. Here at the Space Cadet Sports Podcast, we're a huge fan of Corey Julks. Anyone from the H we rep, they know. We know that he's a Houston Astros fan. He brought some fun and some energy to the team last season. We're definitely rooting for him, but he was DFA'd to make room on the roster for a new starting pitcher. I believe it's Alex Spees. I even looked this guy up on Baseball Reference. I know that I'm so bad at pronouncing players' names. I'm bad at pronouncing things, just period. It's just definitely why I got into broadcasting. No, but It's tough to see the Astros have to lose Corey Julks because we definitely are a fan. But I apologize to Alex Spees. I did look up on Baseball Reference how to pronounce the name. There's no pronunciation guide, so I had to just take a stab at it, and I apologize. We never mean any disrespect on this pod by mispronouncing people's names. That's just what I do. My brain's just broken. That I do mean no disrespect. Alex Spees is a guy that retired from baseball and came back. He's bounced around the league a little bit as a relief pitcher, and the Astros are taking a flyer on him. The Astros, with this run of games with Christian they made the move before Christian Javier kind of had a short outing, but they are looking for pitching. They are, I think, worried. They don't want to have another pitching carousel happen again. They want to make sure they have some arms ready and some fresh arms ready and some major league ready arms capable that are capable in the minor leagues just in case they need some more pitching. We do wish Corey Julks the best. Corey, if you're listening, because we know you are, brother. We know you are. We're really hoping that you find a home on a team that can use you and can get you back to the majors. If that isn't the Astros, we all, of course, wish you the best and hope success for you. And yeah, if we get to keep Corey Julks on the minor league roster and he just keeps developing, and maybe we can get to a place where we can use him at the major league level, or maybe even trade him, package him to a place where he can find more luck. So yeah, best of luck for Julks, that's for sure. And yeah, the final score is 9-3. I believe I kind of touched based on everything there that at least that I wanted to. And yeah, we're looking forward to this series in Oakland that starts today, later this evening, and in a couple hours it feels like it. Yeah, we're right there, and it will be Arrighetti spaghetti time in Houston. So yeah, I believe it's been a tough go for Spencer Arrighetti. He's 0-4 with an 8.44 ERA. When we were playing the Yankees series, one of my New York Yankees friends texted me. Believe it or not, I have New York Dodger friends and New York Yankees friends. They like to text me and talk to me about baseball. He texted me and he's like, "Hey, isn't this supposed to be your top prospect? What's with his ERA?" And I'm like, "I know. What is with his ERA?" Spencer Arrighetti has struggled. He's had some struggles in his starts. He does look like he has the right stuff to be in the league. He does look like he has great pitching shapes. Seems like a lot of bad luck, but it just seems like also maybe he isn't quite ready yet, or there's just some finessing or some more fine tuning to try to maybe make sure the ball is releasing from the same point. I'm not saying this from a place of knowledge. I'm just kind of spitballing, brainstorming what it could be based off of a very limited eye test. I have not gone into the stats. I have not, rewatched his overlapped his pitching throws or anything like that. I'm not being like, I know it's this, but it could be something like that, or just some minimal tweaking that he needs to do to kind of hit his spots a little bit better. Sometimes he just misses just enough that the players don't swing, and you can have good shapes and good stuff, but if the batter doesn't track it as a strike, they're not going to swing. So we're hoping that he can just find his spots and execute those very well in this game, because, folks, we need to sweep this series. We really do. Oakland, I think, while they are having a bit of a better season, they have been kind of cellar dwellers for a while. They've been in the basement of the AL West. Right now, the Astros are below them, and we need to get up the standings, folks. This is the easiest way to do it, to beat teams within your division. We have 4 games against the Oakland A's, then we're going to play the Milwaukee Brewers, and then we will have the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, which I don't know what is going on with that team. So, when you're looking at your divisional opponents that we have coming up, we're really looking to not lose too many games here. First of all, as a team, the Astros cannot afford to lose too many divisional games. And when you're playing teams like this, you're really hoping that the Astros don't do the thing where they play to their talent level. Sometimes in the past, they get beat up by some teams that are struggling, and they seem to really shine with the teams that are great. But that hasn't been the case this season. This season, we have played a lot of great teams, and we have struggled. We have only played, I think, 2 teams with losing records. I believe, I guess the Tigers are about 500. So, that when you're looking at the Nationals and the Rockies, I think are the teams that I'm thinking in my head. Like, though everyone else has been pretty tough opponents, I would say. But the Tigers are kind of middling. Would probably be a tier in the middle of those teams. So it's like the Astros have been playing great talent this season. We need them to show up against the A's. 3 out of 4 is truly what I think they're going to win if I'm making my projection, but it would really be nice to win all of these divisional games, start really climbing up that divisional ladder and get back to 500. We also have the Brewers. These are series that we have to win as a team. We really need to find a way to win these games. So yeah, with Arrighetti on the mound tonight, we are really hoping as fans that he can find those spots, really get deep into the game. It's been a struggle for Arrighetti to go deep into games. He has struggled obviously to have a lead in these games based off of all those losses that he's had. So we're really rooting for some great spaghetti time tonight. Maybe I'll make some spaghetti. I think maybe that's it. Maybe I'll just have some spaghetti time here to cheer him on. We need to see it. The Astros cannot afford to be losing divisional games, folks. The Oakland A's of Las Vegas are sending out Ross Stripling today on the mound. Stripling, kind of has that kind of like innings eater kind of look to him. I would say his career regular season, he has a 4.02 ERA, but he has a 1.23 WHIP. He does have that WHIP lower, and right now he struggled this year. He has a 1-6 record with a 5.14 ERA in 42 innings, with only 29 strikeouts and a 1.57 WHIP. So, if this is a guy that the Astros can get some hits off of, that would be great. It looks like with a low strikeout guy with, kind of struggling with his ERA and struggling with that the WHIP a little bit, that's hopefully a way that we can get to him. So yeah, that's what we're looking at there for that game on Tuesday, where the Astros are sending Ronel Blanco to the mound to pitch against a left-handed pitcher from Oakland, and yeah, with J.P. Sears, who also is kind of the same thing. His WHIP is a little lower. Just generally, his ERA is a little elevated. Not really a high strikeout guy either. So we're hoping the Astros can feast on some left-handed pitching in that game. We really need it right now. And the game for the 15th, the following day, the Oakland A's don't have a pitcher set, and the Astros will be sending Fromber to the mound for that game. Fromber is kind of getting back into the groove. We just want to see some more success from him. Want to see what he can do against this A's team, and hopefully just kind of get kind of set. The A's do have a couple injuries with them right now. An old friend, Abraham Toro, is playing for the A's right now. I believe we'll be seeing a lot of him because of the injuries. We'll probably see him a good amount of Toro at Minute Maid Park. But it'd be good to see him. Hopefully, the Astros are able to have a good success against the A's. Now, because it's a 4-game series, because of the stretch of the games that the Astros have. I'm not mentioning the 4th game of the series because neither team has any starters set, so we don't know exactly who that will be quite yet. Time will tell. I'm guessing, most likely that will be the Astros going with the Christian Javier there, unless they need to reevaluate. But there is no starter set at the moment for either team. Now, with the 4-game series, with so many games that the Astros have to play this month, it's in the Astros' best interest. You really want to see some quality starts in all of these games here. Not just because we need to win them, but because Astros pitching and the bullpen really does not need to be overexerted. They've had a tough season so far. Christian Javier was pulled out of the 2nd inning in one of these Detroit games. We need to see length from these starters. It is a key to success. It always is a key to success, but for right now, the Astros are operating with very little wins. So we are trying to focus on the big picture things. That's what the Astros need to do. Obviously, it goes without saying that the Astros, they got to play good baseball, but the key to success for the Astros actually winning a lot of these division games, sweeping the series or minimally winning the series against Oakland, is going to be with the starting pitching, is going to be that they can't get behind these games in the 1st inning. They can't have struggling outings from the starting pitching. They pitchers need some quality starts. We want them to go 6 innings. The more innings they could eat up, the better for this bullpen. We want to see it. We'd love to see it. And on the hitting side of the ball, obviously the problem with this team has been hitting in clutch situations, has been driving in runs with runners in scoring position. Based off of how they played in Detroit, we're hoping that they can, with the last game, the last game in New York, we're hoping that they can build off of those successes and start focusing on those big moments and putting less pressure on themselves. I know everybody's like, their body language is bad. I don't like their body language. It looks like they're giving up. No, they need to be calm, cool, and collected. You don't want to see frustration. You don't want to see them trying too hard. You want them to be calm, cool, and collected and to play their game. If your game is not hitting a home run, don't try to hit a home run. Get a hit, pick up a walk, pass the baton to the next person. Right now, the Astros have been stealing bases. Maybe manufacture some runs. Whatever you have to do to get some runs across. That's what the Astros have to do. It can't just be getting up there, putting a lot of pressure on yourselves, swinging at bad pitches, and ending up striking out or getting weak contact. They need to win these battles. Also, just a little bit better defense. And this is tough to say. I mean, this is a pretty good defensive team. It's never been, I would say, like the best defensive team, but it's always been an exceptional defensive team that can get the job done and to go deep into the playoffs from good defense. There's been just little errors, just little things from Pena, which is very bizarre. I mean, I don't expect that to be happening much more at all this season, but just these little things that we need to get double plays, we need to get outs, we need to, whether it's, little Pena errors or little Yonder errors, getting, catcher interference or just little bobbles. All these little things need to be cleaned up and worked through so that we can have better defense and give our pitchers support and give our pitchers defensive support and some run support. And just, consistency to last throughout the game. I think sometimes the Astros are so streaky. They either do well in the beginning or do well late. We need some consistency throughout the game. And I mean, that's all very simplistic stuff. But when you're losing and you need to get to 500, sometimes the stuff that gets you back is simplistic. It's very simple. It's very focused. And I don't understand people that are saying that this is a bad body language team. They don't seem that way to me. They don't seem like they've given up at all in any kind of way. They seem frustrated. They seem to be putting the pressure on themselves. That's not a body language of someone who's given up. That's body language of someone who's trying really hard. I think they actually need to try less. They need to play their game. They need to have the confidence that playing their game will work. But then if you're Yordan Alvarez or if you're Alex Bregman, these guys that are taking pitches, and when those pitches are being called for strikeouts looking, you start to put more pressure on yourself. You start to feel it more. You start to question, should I take this pitch? It is on the edge. But having that thought does not help you in baseball, because by the time you've had that thought, you have already needed to swing the bat. So that's when you get into those weak contacts or the pop-ups and stuff, is because of that hesitancy. Hopefully they can just be more confident within their games, and that confidence will start giving them better results, and that will just lead to more confidence. It's hard. Baseball is just hard, period. It's also hard psychologically to play your game and play within yourself when you're not getting those results, because the instinct is to try harder, and sometimes that's not always the best. Trying harder isn't the best. Definitely trying, maybe changing your swing, maybe figuring out new things like that, but getting in your head and putting the pressure on hardly ever helps anything in life. I think they need to kind of take a little bit of that pressure off and have a little more fun and enjoy the game and get back to the Astros that we know and love. So after those 4 games with Oakland, 3 games with Milwaukee, 3 games with the Angels, and then finally a day off for the Astros before they go on a road trip with to see some divisional foes in Oakland and in Seattle. So this month is really ending at the grinder. They've got to get some wins. They've got to build on this confidence that they have. I'm always optimistic that things are turning around, but truly, with a 500 road trip record here, it's not exactly what the doctor ordered. With the first 40 games of the season the way it's gone, it has not been but really given me a lot of confidence that this team is clawing their way out of this hole. They are still in the process of doing that, and they still need to get a hold of some things and stay there and start clawing their way up. It's been slow work, but they still have the capacity to get back up in this division, and that's what they need. I think winning the wild card will be tough, but winning this division, I think, is still doable, and they're still capable of it. They're just going to have to really have a good rest of this month, and I think they can. The way that they've been playing, the way this offense has been playing, the way that the pitching has been solidifying with these pitchers up. And I know Javier did not give us the outing that we wanted, but when the Astros need wins, and when the Astros obviously need their horses back, the organization made a decision to bring him back, probably a start too early. And you know what? We lost a game. That's part of baseball. You move forward and you move on. One little thing about I think it was Chandler Rome, at least. If it's not Chandler Rome, I beat up on him enough to just say that was some sports writer was saying that Dana Brown is a little foolish for not saying that the Astros could be sellers at the trade deadline. You'd be foolish to be Dana Brown to go out there and saying that you'd be a seller at the trade deadline right now, because you'd be saying that to your players. What do you mean that you'd be foolish? Yes, he is probably considering that because that's his job. But it would not be in the Astros' best interest if, when they are struggling, you go on TV for an interview in May and say that you might be sellers at the deadline. That inspires no confidence in your team. That inspires no confidence in your fans. What kind of lunatic are you to say that this man should go out and be like, oh yeah, realistically, we'll probably have to sell some people? That's a loser take. That's a take that will get people nervous. That is silly. So I think it's absolutely absurd that someone out there is saying that he should be realistic. No, he's giving a press interview. He should give the right answer that inspires confidence. Behind closed doors, I'm sure he is more realistic, and he is thinking, if we're having a tough season, what moves will I make to make sure that this next season is going to be a winning season? But you don't say that. You don't say the quiet part out loud. Are you nuts, Chandler? Well, anyway, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this podcast for today. Sometime this week, I do want to give a Rockets update. I also want to do a Houston Astros the Space Cadet Houston Astros official panic meter update. Look forward to those podcasts. Definitely look out for them. Definitely go to the Substack at spacecadetsports.substack.com, where you can get all the articles, all the memes, all the podcasts your heart can want. And all you have to do is go to that website, and if you want, you could subscribe and be a subscriber of the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. We really appreciate you here at the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. I've been Paul Salazar Jr. You can find me on social media at Paul Salazar Jr. This is also Carla the dog. You can find cute pictures of her on Instagram at good.dog.carla. Thanks so much for listening. I really feel like this is going to be a good homestand for the Astros. I feel it in my heart. No matter what, keep your head up, and vamos Astros.